Hey guys, welcome back to Pick Up the Truth. Now, today I want to continue with the foods we can find in creation and how it can help us survive if we find ourselves without food. But first I want to talk about the previous videos that I've done about the foods that we can find in creation to eat, and that would be the way I was listing them to you numerically. I was using the numbers that they listed them in an order, and I wanted to talk about the numbers because I was talking to a good brother of mine today, and it just made me think about the numbers that the Masons created to teach us from when we were a little baby, so we can grow up and be enslaved in the time they created as well, to enslave us in. And it means a lot to me when I catch myself making a mistake, because the last thing I want to do is teach you guys something that is meant to be more Masonic brainwashing, meant to deceive you. And I want this channel to be somewhere you can come and be sure you can pick up the truth. And yeah, I know I'm only human, and I was brainwashed to believe in this world just like everyone else. But especially in these times, we have to take the truth seriously and try to live by it, because the more the programming we can deprogram from, the more we can think on our own, and the more intelligent we can be in truth. And I know the numbers, a lot of truthers use numbers to decode Masonic psyops with, and that in itself can be a distraction that will take you away from new truth that you can learn. So I don't suggest that, trying to learn numerology to decode Masonic things that the Masons program us with, because it's only a big distraction and from other things that you could be learning in truth. And but it can be good, at first for us to learn, so we can spot it and we can relate it back to the Masons. It's a good teaching tool, but it's not something good to be distracted by, because we have to understand that the Masonic ones that wanted to program us with it created it. So anything we can do in our lives to deprogram ourselves from it is only beneficial to us. And I have to apologize to y'all for that. I'm going to try my best not to use numbers personally in my life anymore, and unless I absolutely have to with the time they created for me. But I need to continue to free my mind and from the bad things that they teach me, so I can learn the new things that are truthful. But I just wanted to let you guys know that, and we're all going to make mistakes in learning truth, and as long as we stay true to ourselves and the truth, we'll be fine. So today I wanted to learn about some of the proteins we can find in on the earth that we can eat and stay healthy with. Now, we're looking at acorns, and it says they're not for squirrels anymore. Oak trees are abundant with acorns. It says they're an excellent source of wild nutrients. In every 100 grams of acorns, there's 8.1 grams of protein. Well, that's a little low on the protein scale for things with protein, but it's still a good source if you can find a lot of them. But remember, always share them with our brothers, the squirrels, because we love them as well. They're supposed to be a good source of healthy fat. And says it's important to note that acorns have tannins, making them impossible to eat without leaching them first. Leaching can be done in hot or cold methods. The hot method involves bringing shelled acorns to a boil and changing the water several times. When the acorns are done, they won't be bitter, and the water being poured off them will be cleaner. The cold method is basically soaking and rinsing shelled acorns. It can be done in a variety of ways. People sometimes leave their acorns in a cloth bag weighed down in a clean creek. That's the natural way of doing it. If you can find some cloth to tie them up in. Now, Nettles is another good source of protein. In the last year, no, let's not use year. Nettles have become one of their favorite wild edibles. Let's see. You probably heard about stinging nettles. There's also wood nettles, which is what they have on their homestead and they're talking about right now. Let's see. The stingers on the nettles are dissolved through drying or cooking, so just wear gloves to harvest them because they might poke you otherwise. To cook, all you need is a quick dunk in boiling water just until they start to turn dark green. They taste like spinach and are great in many dishes or can be dried and used for tea. Nettles are considered by many to be a superfood, as with many wild foods. Their exact nutrient content seems to be a bit debated, but they are known to be high in both calcium and protein. It says, note, nettles can have It can give you diuretic effect. Won't hurt you. Just make sure if you're stuffing your face with them, like he plans on doing, or she, that you drink plenty of water. Okay. Next we have beech nuts. Beech nuts fall from the American beech tree in September, October, or November. They form in spiky little pods, which have usually begun to split open when they drop. Even in a beautiful stand of North American beech, it can be a bit difficult to find these gems. They're coverted by all sorts of wildlife, including deer, turkeys, squirrels, bears, chipmunks, and other rodents. Their production also varies greatly from season to season. If you're lucky enough to find a bunch, they make delicious, mildly sweet nut butter. However, their skins contain phagan, which is slightly toxic. The skins can be easily rubbed off after they're roasted, if you plan to eat a lot. Beech nuts are a pretty good source of protein, offering 6.2 grams per 100 grams of nuts. That's a little less than acorns. Now next we have black walnuts. Now, they're in West Virginia. Black walnut trees are super common. However, you won't find many people who bother to gather and shell them. It's much tougher than shelling cultivated English walnuts. But it's totally worth it, they say. They say they're sweeter and more flavorful than the domestic cousins. Plus, the black walnut husk can be used as a easy natural dye. Ooh, wow, okay. 100 grams of these guys offers 24 grams of protein, and that's pretty high. Wow, that's a lot. Good protein here, for sure. Okay, next up is lamb's quarter. Lamb's quarter is a wonderful wild green that probably grows right in your garden. Its mild flavor makes it super versatile. It can be eaten raw as a sail green, or in wraps, or tossed in with your favorite recipes. But we're going to try to eat them in nature, more natural. It says the seeds can also be harvested from mature plants and either boiled like rice or ground into flour. Lamb's quarter is packed with a boatload of calcium and vitamin C and offers 4.2 grams. Well, there's some numbers, but we can't help it. 4.2 grams of protein per 100 grams. Okay, over here we have oyster mushrooms, which sounds really good. It says they're a great source of protein and an excellent beginner mushroom. They're easily identified, growing in clusters, and they look like oysters on trees or rotting logs. I've seen them before. Never thought about eating them though. Betcha I will next time. They tend to have wavy edges and downturned caps. They have delicate, thin, true gills, and the different varieties vary in colors, usually whitish, brown, or gray. The oyster mushroom offers 3.3 grams, of course it does, of protein per 100. Next up, is pine nuts. We don't harvest pine nuts around here simply because the Virginia pine has small cones that would take a lot of time and effort for little game. However, if you live in an area with species containing larger pine cones and larger pine nuts, you should totally be harvesting them because they have a whopping 13.7 grams of protein per 100. So, yeah, that's a lot of protein. But it says it's a challenge, but it's delicious. Next we have up is wild rice. Now it says wild rice provides 4 grams of protein per 100, which is not much, but it's okay. Sadly, much of its native habitat has been destroyed, so you're most likely to find it around the Great Lakes and in remote areas of New England and Canada. So maybe it's up around you, Emerald Rider. I know you're out there in Canada, and it might even be over there by you, Macy, or you're over there in Connecticut. Maybe. Let's see. Next we have up is, well, plantain seed. Let's see. Plantain is one of those plants that has evolved to live alongside humans and livestock. Evolved? Since when is a plant going to evolve? Don't they stay the same? I don't know. Unless you're a butterfly. But that's an animal. Okay, moving on. It thrives in an environment where it's stepped on, grazed, or mowed. So you find it frequently in lawns and fields. Wow. Might be in your yard. There are 2 common types of plantain. You'll find both have very similar properties. Plantago major or broadleaf plantain. And Plantago lanceolata. I don't know. Lanceolata. I don't know. Or narrow leaf plantain. Avoid harvesting in places where people may have sprayed chemicals. Both the leaves and seeds are edible though the seeds contain more protein. The seeds can be eaten raw, roasted, or ground into flour for all sorts of goodies. The leaves can be eaten raw, but are often cooked to get rid of any bitterness. The leaves are tasty when very briefly fried with a bit of oil. They're also a great plant-based source of iron and many other important vitamins and nutrients. It says plantains are also have powerful medicinal values. Wow, very good. Good information to know. Chestnuts. American chestnuts, while American chestnuts may all but disappeared from the landscape, you can still harvest Chinese sweet chestnuts or American Chinese chestnuts hybrids. And here's something else I want to, I want to point out here. It's the nationalities they make us go by. You know, these guys, they steal our land from us, the land that was created for us, and they give it these names, and they make us pledge our allegiance to these names, and they make us have false pride in these names, and they even make us live by these names. I mean, they give us the cultures to go along with these national names. It's another way they teach us to be the people they want us to be. And you know, they do a lot of things to us. We have problems seeing because we're right in the middle of it. But we learn, just like we're learning about this food that the earth provides for us. We can eat and nourish our bodies with. Now it says these chestnuts can provide us with 4.5 grams of protein per 100 probably. And okay, next we have hickory nuts. Another common tree in West Virginia and much of the Appalachia. Hickory nuts are a great way to collect some tasty protein. There's different species of hickory, but around here we have good old shag bark hickories. They say you can find everything you need to know about hickory nuts. Okay, that's at somebody's blog, which we're not going to get into. Now, next up we have chickweed. Chickweed is another one of those super common garden weeds. It's mild and succulent, making it great for salads. It doesn't say how much protein it has, but it must have a little bit. Well, it says it has a good bit of protein, but it just doesn't specify. Here we go. We got another one. Hopness American groundnut. Another lovely wild edible that they hadn't actually heard of until doing some asking around. Let's see. American groundnuts aren't actually nuts. They're legumes. I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. However, eating them is more like eating potatoes or another root crop. They are typically found along riverbanks. Interesting. Next up, we got chicken of the woods. I think we learned about this in a previous video. Not sure, guys. Sometimes called sulfur shell, chicken of the woods is this wicked awesome mushroom that tastes like, you guessed it, chicken. It's super easy for even mushroom newbies to identify, and it's packed with a ton of protein at 14 grams per 100 grams of mushroom. Wow, that is a lot. Oh, I'd like to have some of that. Let's see. Next up, we have maple seed. Let's see. They say they look like funny little helicopter seeds that kids love to play with in the fall. Well, they are that. those little helicopters that we love to pick up and watch spin around. It says you can actually remove the wing part and roast and eat them. Wow, I didn't know that. It says they taste like pumpkin or sunflower seeds. Cool. That's awesome. All right, guys. That's all the proteins I have for now. So, I hope you guys get out there with the time the Masons gave you and they enslave us in, and enjoy the creation that was definitely created for you by the energy that created everything. Let's eat some of these things that were created for us and improve our health. Have fun while we're doing it and learning new things. I love you guys, and take care of yourself.